Hey, wild ones. I came on to make a video. I hadn't made a video in a while. I hadn't had any updates or anything. Nothing going on really. Um, I did want to go ahead and make a video though, as far as like what set me on my journey and how I've gotten here. As far as everything in life and where it led me up to, all my experiences and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go like really deep into detail, but how I began on my spiritual journey when I was a child, very young as a child, I was basically, how I felt was I was born into an identity crisis. My parents were very both strong-willed, just they were loving parents. I don't think they really knew how to react to me or to like maybe supply knowledge to me other than, I would ask them different things like, well, how'd you come up with my name? Well, your dad named you. Like, well, what does my name mean? Like, you know, they were estranged from a lot of their family members and stuff like that through different points and periods in time. I was not raised around a lot of my family. So when I was born into my family, I was raised and reared by, my European side of the family. My mother is Caucasian, white. Um, my father, he's indigenous. He's black. Um, I don't use the term black loosely. I don't too much get into colors and things like that. We're all people, so I just try to keep it plain, simple, and clear on that. I'm pretty just straightforward into to the facts. I was born into an identity crisis. I like when you're all you can watch are your cousins and your aunt. That my aunt and my uncle, basically they had a lot of us just at their house. Our parents worked all the time, so I was in and out kind of like, but mostly at my aunt and uncle's house. And it had gotten to a point where they couldn't even pry me from away from there. But uh my aunt and uncle were there. And I've always felt all these things because nobody really tried to, I guess, ask the right questions to me, like, other than, why don't you smile? What, you know, I just feel like, I didn't talk a lot. I wasn't really, I guess, a conversationalist. I was, around grown people most of my uh, life, in my beginning of my life. So I just, and a lot of times, I was the annoyance. I was the younger cousin, sibling, like, because I was way younger than my siblings, and then my cousins that I was raised around. I had one that was my age, and then everybody was pretty much older. And I never, I didn't think about, oh, I'm different, or until somebody said something to me one time, and I was like, whoa, like, as far as like race, you know? And then like after that one experience, it was like all of these multitudes of experiences and being indoctrinated and things of that sort. That's part of like society when you go into public schools and stuff like that. Like it did not help me at all in the identity crisis, because I was already, before I even started school, was, you know, I went to a store and a little boy called me nigger. It's like, what? Like, I didn't even know what that was, so I just didn't even say anything. Like, what do you say to that? I don't know what that is. you know? And I didn't think anything of it because I was like, he's just a kid like me, I want to go play or whatever. But it's times like that as you get older and stuff, you look back and be like, wow, people really don't, you are subjected to a lot of people's beliefs. You're just reflecting what your parents did or what you were taught and everything like that. Like no one has a mind of their own because we just keep doing the same cycle. And the environment I'm in, I'm not sure about everybody else, but the environment that I am in right now, um excuse me, y'all, um like all the majority, especially in this area, like we all grew up together, or knew, we somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, or so like all of it is that the more you look at it, you see the lies and the illusion that people have been fed for, like the hate is real. And I've the more and more that I started experiencing things, because I had, a whole lot of trauma and things and stuff that happened to me, which, you know, they're experiences that we all grow from. You're not supposed to hold on to that. You heal yourself, you go on about life, and you know, you those are your testimonies, like your trials, your tribulations, everything that's going on around you that relates to the past. Because I mean, your past is 5 seconds. As soon as you say something, it's already in the air. Okay, so in all those experiences and stuff, I started asking myself, like, what is my, like, what is it that we're really doing here? Because um the more the older I got, and the more I started realizing things. And, of course, when you start going, not in elementary so much, but in middle school, high school, you're looking at your friends, you have peer pressure, you want to fit in, you want to, like that boy like you, and you want to do this, and you get more and more out of range from what does that have to do with anything? That's pretty much. And so you're living, after a while I noticed I was living a reality that I had built. That, yes, okay, I was successful, and that's why I'm here now, because I was successful in that. At the same time, it was not what I wanted to be doing. I worked for a state facility for 16 years, and my parents passed away, so it changed my whole trajectory. Like, I remember, I went through a cycle of, like, am I depressed? I put myself on autopilot, basically. Like, I was like, you know, all my triggers, my everything was just like uh, all set off. All set off. Things that had happened to me in the past, like I had life reviews. Like, I remember waking up and freaking panicking, and not knowing where all this was coming from. Like I was flipping through a uh, a photo album of things that I did that led me to here, and it was like, oh my goodness, like, and it was almost, it just hit me. It was like an epiphany. You're not even supposed to be doing this. Why are you here? Your mom wanted you to apply to this job. I had worked in nursing homes before that. So I was like, what do you do? So but like I had said, I was going through all these different one. I mean, when I say plethora of shit. Everything in the physical world was punching me in the face, basically. Like, things that I put way back in the back of my mind, just, it caught me. And the more and more because I had already isolated myself and I was sleeping a lot and just trying to, reserve my energy, because the job that I was working was over freaking whelming at the time. And then COVID hit, and I was like, okay. I knew that. I was like, this is my turning moment. This is my turning moment. So my unit director at the time, I was assistant unit director at the state facility that I worked for. And I did a lot of hiring and screening, and get all the questions together. We rewrote the questions. We sat down as a team, and we went through applications, and we did all the hiring for the units, and did so we were like the what was right above the supervisor as far as management. So the unit director was free to go to the administration meetings and do what they needed to do while we did the other half. And so my job at the time, like, it consists of a whole bunch of numbers, like all of these numbers. And I remember I had to have to read through these numbers and read through these numbers and read through these numbers and read through these numbers. And I would dream about numbers. I used to dream about numbers, and I'd be like, what is going on? That was 11:44 on my phone just now, by the way. I was like, all of these numbers, what are these? Where do I stand in this, as far as per se, like, not my physical me, like, what is this system that I am working with and seeing? And when you speak about things of this sort, and I'm not trying to put anything like they're out on blast about the job that I had. What I'm saying is like, I was like, we are basically being put in this number, and as far as like employees, and we're working and for whatever you think our value is. And I believe me, I've been I was part of the termination process. I was part of the, go to the administration and go to, do these things, and I would go do them, and I would sit into the doctor's meetings and listen to them. And the more COVID got out there, I was like, and at the moment, y'all, I thought for a moment, I was like, am I flipping my shit? Am I flipping my shit? Because what I'm seeing is this huge system. This huge system. That's great. That's fine. But these doctors were afraid to make a decision. They are people. Okay. Yes, they go to college for years and years and years and years. You don't really know a past about them unless they tell you a past about them. That you don't know, like, what past they have, or what they've done, or what they do. Okay? What they do. Because it's not about, I say that because they are people. Okay? They mess up, they make mistakes, they, And I was like, the more I started working, the more after that thought, the more I went to these meetings, and the more that I looked at these numbers, and the more that I'm sitting here looking at these numbers, and going to the meetings, and I was like, I'm not the person that want to work staff to the, you know, and you act as if you don't care about their home life. You don't care so much about you to I've been in meetings and said I've, you know, and the person that I was like, did we just really tell somebody like your family comes second because your job is what takes care of your family? Where is that backwards at? And so the more and more I sat and thought after 16 years, like, then it was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, oh, you know, like I was working, oh my goodness, I was doing all the hiring, all the everything else. I had other supervisors that I would have help cover me because I was covering another home, or I was covering the infirmary, or you know, trying to bond and mesh and keep this unit together. And when you go and you work for a place like that, after a while, like if you work there, you quit, you know, if you quit and come back, they're not going to keep hiring you. And if you have a bad rep, somebody didn't like you, whatever, then they're going to let you go. They feel like your attitude's not right for the position. You know, you're, the best way I could put it was I had basically become, and believe me, I know, no emotion. No emotion. Okay. I had no emotion. And at parts and times of the job, of course, you know, if you're working a job, you're an entrepreneur, you're, you know, you're setting yourself up. You know that your emotion, you have to be able to, you know, okay, I understand, or that's just a no. So the more I started having to deal with things that I was going through, and people are calling me 24/7, or the unit director, and we're trying to find this and do that and get this in place and do this, and I'm running this area and doing that area. And I was like, oh no. I remember she pulled me into her office one day and she asked me, what are you going to do if they want you to, you know, take the, I'm not. I said, and I told her, I said, I do believe that I will not be here by that time. And I was right. They told me that they could not pay me out for some overtime, and I told them, okay, well, I've got to go. I've got to go. I have 4 kids at home. They're not even at this point. When I was, the point that I was at was they're at home. They're at home, and I'm here. I'm here. They have things going on too, remind you. Like they have other things that are going on with them, and I'm up here. I'm not able to do it anymore. So, dude, okay. Um, the, the man in my world, he asked me. He was like, "Was there any thought, intention, like intentional thought?" It, and I had to really sit myself down and heal myself. I've been working on myself for the last 3 years, just getting caught up, because nothing is pretty about this. Okay? Not knowing yourself and feeling alienated at times, or like you've been made to be different. You are different. You know, I was man, when I say that trying to fit in did not work for me. It did not work with me because I could do it to a certain extent, and then I would go MIA. I was quick to skirt. I'm out. I'm out. It didn't matter. Like it did, but to keep me intact, no. No, that's job, that's relationships, that's friendships. That's if me and you are not growing, or at least setting a foundation so we're on the same level and vibrating at the same time. Like if I feel like I'm gonna hold you back, or you're gonna, then most of the time I was like, I feel energy tough, okay? High high empathic, okay? You walk into a store and all of it's like everyone's energy is on you. Not I don't like when you're trying to explain it, for others it sounds like what do you mean? Like you like somebody's compressing me. Not anxiety. It's not anxiety. I've had anxiety. I've had this is not anxiety. Okay, I've dealt with a lot of that in life, and the more comfortable I've became with myself, that doesn't, you can move that. Okay, because you can put up your barriers and your protection, and this feeling, especially lately, I walk into Walmart. Do you go into Wally World and feel like your whole world is like, uh, it's like, oh my goodness. The kids be looking at me like, I just, I don't know. I don't know. And when the realization that I came to, I've had conversations with a few different people about, you know, cleaning your energy and your chakras and cleansing and detox, and I got ice and water right here. It's very hot here right now. So, I try to stay in my lane. I've had to become comfortable and accept who I am. Um, I have always had this strong urge to be around, the elderly and the people that are older. They've always fed my soul. They know what stories to tell. You don't have to go far. If you go, and say something to an older gentleman or older, they're gonna spark up a conversation with you, and you know that brings light into my life. I've always been a healer, and so even when I was really young, I was left. My aunt, she was a brittle diabetic, so she needed things. So, and I was the only one that was left with her for a while, and we had a very tight emotional connection, like a spiritual connection that tied us. So, like when things would happen, I could sense it, and it was very strange to me. I don't know, because you don't know what's going on with you at that age. At those ages, you don't know what's going on with you. But I was with her to so if something did happen, I could alert somebody. That's this far back. It wasn't like we had medical alert, and they did, but it wasn't for someone low income or whatever. So I was there to help her, and I did, her basic medical needs. If she needed help, I helped her. Um, my aunt was a big woman, and she didn't move around a lot until later on in life. So, but we had such a connection that before she passed, I had a dream that was vivid, and I I was like, I remember waking up from the dream and being like, what is that? Like, what is that? I don't know what I just experienced. And it was frightening for me. But now that I'm older, I can see that dream and be like, okay. She shortly after that, I think it was maybe like a week later, she went to the hospital and she passed away not too long after that. So, and she was in on dialysis and stuff. So, like, she slowly got to that point where she was on transplant, and so much stuff had happened, and she was, so many things were going on with her that you know it was, you know so that affected me my entire life. And so other occurrences, and there's other traumas that I have too, and they set off triggers. But being a healer, and when I actually got up into management and watching everything that was going on, I was like, I don't like this. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. So then I quit, and you know, um, I had went after my parents passed away, and I picked up drinking heavily. Like I said, I was also on antidepressants, and I've dealt with trauma and death. It's been there. It's no different than anyone else. We all have a story. But when my parents passed, it was kind of like, this is a tower moment. I used to read myself when I was in high school, so I knew they passed away, and I was like, my world's fixing to change. There was a loud voice in my head that said, everything in your life is fixing to change. And I said, okay. Like, what, I mean, so I held on tight. I held on tight. I had already went through a divorce. I had been in a stronghold relationship where I was head over heels, and I was dumped. You know, uh, he's a good guy. All the men that I'm going to do an ode for men. The men in my life have always made a path, or we've crossed journeys. I can't say made a path, crossed journeys with me along the way. And it's so wild and crazy because y'all mean the world to me. And I want you to know that, because any man that has came into my life at a certain time, you may have not known it, but you were probably there for a reason, whether it was just there for comfort or whatever, because I was probably going through it and probably needed some kind words or whatever. So when I went through all of this, I came into another relationship with my last son's father. And at the time, I was vibrationally, I was low. Low. The drink had caught up with me. My parents' death had caught up with me. I hit rock bottom and didn't. I was like, even though like I was, the thing was is it didn't look like it because I was financially stable. Okay? We're all people. Okay? I was financially stable. I had, when you're financially stable, everybody out the woodwork come out the wood. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, everything's great. A party over here, party over there. So I was really at the time, I was chilling to myself. I was like, like I had. Don't get me wrong. Actually had some cousins of mine staying with me, but and he came in at a really not good time. And for me, it might have been a great time for him. I don't choose to say neither nor. He was still needed. Okay. All of this is my divinity. Step by step, I watched my life go from grand to very emotionally and spiritually poor. Okay. Now, do not get me wrong. Because I was still functioning. Okay. I was still functioning. I had enough sense. Because even though I was drinking and I was on depression medications and stuff like that, I do remember having a conversation with him. I remember like everything that happened. It wasn't like, oh, I do remember telling him, you don't really want to be in a relationship with me. And he was just like, yeah, I do. Like, I wanted you since it, he kind of gaslighted me and da 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 da. And I was like, no, like, really, you don't. Because in my mind, I already had it in my mind. Like, I probably want to get it on a few times and then hit the road. Like, we can be friends and chill and hang out. Like, he was my road dog, but we got caught up. And I told him, not caught up, but caught up as far as I told him, I said, I'm not trying to go there like emotion, because I don't. First of all, I'm a high empath. I'm already vibrating, and your vibration and they're not matching. They're not matching. Okay, I know what type of men I prefer and that I go for. And I go for it. Believe me, if I want it, I'm gonna go full fucking throttle. That's just what it is. So I play for keeps. Okay. So at the end of the day, we didn't work out. But I told him step by step, basically, exactly how our relationship would play out. And I had no understanding how I would do that. And it ended, and it ended exactly, for me, it ended exactly how I said it would happen. So every word, and like I said, when I can only expose myself to so much. If not, I blow my shit. I'm an empath. Like, for real, like, it wasn't a good thing for me to keep exposing me and him to this force of, no, it was a negative, nasty vibe, to the point where I told him, like, I don't even know why you're here. Like, um you're here, and you're upset with me because you have some inner conflicts, and I have inner conflicts, and our souls are like at war, and we want to sit here and keep doing, like, that doesn't make any sense. So I left, came home, and I was gone. Wasn't the first time I've done that, and it's hard. It's very hard. At the same time, I'm a genuine person. he knows I'm a good person or a genuine person. I don't do the good and bad thing. I think there's choices or decisions. Like if you're gonna make decisions, you're gonna make decisions, and but at the same time, um, just where we were at in life, and I had already told him like you have a lot of growing to do, and I'm not trying to say that in a bad or mean way. Like I'm saying that in a nurturing way. Like you have growing to do, and I'm down to help. But not at this level. We're not gonna work out. I can walk away and I can suck it up. I'm not a friend of me, and I'm not against anyone. Like I want genuinely for everyone to just live a good life. Like it doesn't have anything to do with, you know, nitpicking, and I'm not going to do that. And it just, you know, at the same time, like it was hard for me to let go. It was hard for him too, you know. So, but I have all these gifts, and the more I've gotten into, I listen to Conjure Queen, yes. Love your content. Black Magic, love your content. I watched Years and Hank's episode today, and that was lit. Um, it's that inner knowing. Like I usually do not go to crowded places just in general, like unless I have to be there. Like I'm gonna go put myself in this, and I'm gonna move how I move. I'm not, don't get me wrong. I don't try to cause disturbance. I'm just a laid back person, you know, and trying to meet people. And anytime I do around in life, it kind of do's me, so it's kind of like, oh, okay. The more and more that I've gotten older, it's like, okay, well, you're having something, who's going to be there, what's the theme, what's going on, what kind of noises are going to be made, like I don't like doing that, so I have to be able to, meditate. I drink water, uh, out in the elements, y'all. Meditating out in the elements, in the openness, just to feel, that bliss and the energy source through your hands and your feet. And it reminds me that source is right there. Source is right there embracing you with all your ancestry and everything within you and around you that is life. Source is truth. When I do get on social media, I don't do well with small talk. So people that try to small talk me, it's awkward for me. And, I'm like, if we want to just talk about something, let's just talk about it. I'm the one that I will break the ice. Like, I don't, like, and then I move on about my business. Like, believe me, I have watched people hold grudges on people, and people, they don't even know that they're doing spell work with their words and stuff like that. I've been there. I've been in it, and so indigenous and Caucasian, or whatever you want to call people, they're people. Have a soul, have a soul. We all should just be getting along. We all should be getting along. But you do know what energies are for you and what's not. Like, anytime that something extraordinary, really big in life was fixing to happen, I have always sensed something and tried to stop people from doing certain things that I'm like, you don't want to do that. Do not do that. Like, but you can only lead a horse to water. And I think it kind of freaks people out. Honestly, I think it kind of freaks people out when you're able to say, "Hey, now's not a good time," or you might not want to do that. I'm a Virgo, by the way. I'm a Virgo, and analyzing, I had to slow my mind down and stop analyzing a lot of things, because if not, I would run myself ragged. I have actually run myself ragged to the point where I would stay in bed for days and days. Like, besides the work, in the work day, but for the most part, I was in bed. A lot of my high school years, I would go to school, come home, get in bed. Coming home, eat a sandwich, do homework, go to bed. There was a lot of self-discovery in those years. And after, further analyzing myself, which I have very current reoccurring, I would call them like life reviews come up out of nowhere. I'll wake up like panic, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Or wake up from a dream where I have people that I know that are in the dream with me. Like, do they know they were in a dream with me? I don't know. Like, their energy is in mine somehow. And it's kind of like, okay. I discern it and I move on, because it's not my business. It's not my business. I've seen a lot of things, y'all. I've seen a lot of things. Even when I was a little girl, I used to see like unicorns. I would talk to unicorns in the classroom. I have lived in different realms, different parts of my life, and didn't even realize it. I told a friend one time, I'm like an onion, and there's levels and levels and levels and levels and levels. There's levels to this shit. And she's like, what does that mean? There's a lot. There's a lot. So no one ever truly gets to know me. If my resting bitch face, or my, the sense of intimidation doesn't get people, like, it takes a long time to get to know me. Like, I'm not forthcoming. I don't, there's, I'm not that. Like, I'm very introverted, but at the same time, I know how to treat people. I know how to be a decent human being. I am, and so all at the same time. So it's just been a wild ride, y'all. And I know that there's people out there that feel this. I've went through I'm still healing. Go through the darkness of the soul and find yourself, and you flip through, and everything hits you in the face. Every dark moment, every good moment, all of this, just in your face. But at the same time, that sense of bliss that this made me, and I am, there is nothing like it. There's nothing like it. So, but until next time, I'm trying to make another video tomorrow, and I am looking for people to collab with. Please, if you know anyone, or you yourself want to panel up, let me know. If you starting a YouTube and you are looking to collab with some people, network or whatnot, let me know. I do have some people lined up that I am very excited about, and I've talked to a few of them. So until next time, y'all, keep loving your heart and be safe out there. Love y'all.